Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Legionary's Life. In episode 1, we fought along with the rest of our legion for the conquer of New Carthage, which will serve as our legion's base of operations as we conduct operations in Hispania. But for now, we'll basically pick up immediately where we left off. I'm just going to go ahead and just start hopping into extra patrols. Receive pay. Oh, another thing we did, if we go to character, we got the rank of Tessarius, sorry, which means we're a guard commander and one of the 2 centuries in your mana pool, which gives us a little bit extra pay, and more importantly, leaves us open to more ranks down the line. But we'll go ahead and start doing extra patrols each day. A thread of your life is fun. Your ability to organize the guard is irreproachable even when you are understaffed and have to fill the gaps. Opinion, Centurion, and Proconsul both go up. Excellent. And you see those ranks, that promotion we already got, paying off. We have a random encounter. Your group bumps into a party of Citrati. As they close in on you, they get ready to throw their iron javelins. We're gonna throw my javelin first. The one in front of you is forced to defend himself, missing the time for his throw. And we'll go ahead and throw our javelin at this one. We hit him in the arm, and now we're just gonna attack the torso because he has no armor. And that'll be the fight. We don't want the sinew cap. Unable to break you, the light troops withdraw and disperse. Excellent. Oh, another thread. Today you are escorting a quaestor in his daily routine near the camp area. He is an elected public officer of senatorial rank, very close to the commander itself. We're going to try to socialize with him and win over his friendship. We have enough charisma. You are a good talker, and the quaestor appreciates your company. You discuss the country you're stationed in and the ongoing war effort. You even learn news about the current situation in Rome. Opinion proconsul increased by 2. You are suddenly assailed by a hail of bullets. Almost instinctively, the dreaded words Balearic slingers comes to mind. You quickly raise your shield, and we're going to rally our men in advance. Even under stress, your soldiers respond promptly and form a shield wall. Mental attributes do not improve, but they're already pretty good. You start advancing at a steady pace towards your assailants. When you are about to get dangerously close, the slingers melt away. Not surprising. Alright. We can go ahead and look for new equipment. I doubt there's anything out there that would be better, because we're still in Spain. We're still in that same marketplace. Yep, it doesn't appear to be so. So exit out of here. Yes. We're going to offer some extra close coaching now. Oh, we can't yet. In that case, we're just going to keep going on patrols. To increase opinion. Our opinion is actually already maxed out, but this is the most effective way I find to pass time. And we can still run into encounters to potentially kill more people. Third of your life is spent. We're put in charge of a small forage party and sent out to collect supplies. So this is a little mini game within the game. We have our character down here. Every square we move in will take up time, and we basically want to search for supplies. Mountains take up the most time, plains take up the least, forests are in the middle. We just use the WASD keys to move around. Oh, and we get ambushed. Without warning, a group of Citrati emerges from the surrounding trees. No sooner have you realized that you are under attack when you see their heavy iron javelins flying towards your group. But we manage to protect ourselves. They're closing in. They're irregular light troops, but their numbers are on their side. But we're going to go ahead and throw our javelin at the first guy, and we actually miss. So now we'll just move in and attack the neck, nearly killing the guy, and now we'll do torso, and now he's dead. Once again, don't want the sinew cap. The enemy assault wavers against the disciplined stand of your troops. At last, they are thrown into disarray and chased off. Your men manage to cut down a few, but most are able to get away. So we'll once again keep moving. There are also villages on the map. These up here, where you're basically guaranteed to find supplies. So I generally like moving towards those. You can find supplies in the woods, like this, for example, and you can see once you get closer to the source of supplies, the supplies will start going up. But I often find that villages are the best. And we get ambushed. Another group of Satrati. We protect ourselves again. Once again, I'm going to close in, set the max attack, and go for the neck. And we killed him in one hit, probably chopping his head off. Once again, they're thrown into disarray, and our men are okay. We'll collect supplies, and we only have a little bit more supplies left, so we'll go to this third village. No sooner have you entered the hamlet than a girl is walking towards you. You can't hide your surprise when she addresses you in Latin. Her command of your language is not perfect, but it's rather remarkable nonetheless. She seems to be about your age, yet there's something in her eyes and manners, a tangible impression of authority. She explains that her village is willing to cooperate with you, but there's only so much they can offer without endangering their own survival. We'll agree just because we don't need a lot more supplies. You convince your men that winning these people's trust is essential in the long run. You are not certain all of them understood what you meant, but at least they go along with your decision. You content yourself with little you are offered and leave. But you can see that's still plenty for us. And now we have to get all the way back down to our starting point. Which you can see is here. You have completed your mission to everyone's satisfaction. That increases the centurion and the troop and morale. And is one of the great chances you get to improve your mental attributes, because really you can't train those as much. But we'll just keep going on patrols for now. A threat of your life, your centurion is quite a Latrunculi player. God, these Latin words are killing me. It's not rare to see him spend his idle time playing a game or two with his men, and today it's your turn. He patiently waits for your move as the sun casts his shadow across the checkerboard. We're gonna try our best. Int check passed. As your final move wins the game, he congratulates you on your tactical skills. He seems to be genuinely pleased to have found a worthy opponent. We gained a denarius, morale, and opinion centurion increase. Once again, going for patrols, and that's it for the day. We'll go ahead and move on to the next battle. It's over a year since the capture of New Carthage. The Carthaginians have failed to respond properly, hindered by rivalries and the lack of cooperation amongst their generals. After winter came and went, Proconsul Scipio set you on the move once again, marching against the closest enemy army. Led by Hasdrubal Barca, one of Hannibal's brothers, the Carthaginians are holding a high two-step plateau near the town of Baecula, a fine defensive position indeed. Dislodging them from there looks like a rather hopeless task, but the proconsul must know what is clear to everyone. The longer you'll stay waiting here, the higher the risk that the remaining two enemy armies will come and crush you. So we will attack first. The wait is nerve-wracking, and at last, the dreaded order, the assault begins. Apparently your skirmishers, the velites, will have to engage the enemy light infantry holding the lower plateau, picked units of heavy infantry are ordered to support them. That's certainly an unenviable task. With relief, you learn that your maneuver will be kept in reserve. The frontal assault is underway when Proconsul Scipio himself takes the lead of half the remaining force. As the Carthaginians are busy repelling your soldiers, he leads you around their position. You are climbing the slope at a fast pace when a small group of Numidian cavalrymen approaches and starts harassing you with their javelins. The terrain is far from propitious for a cavalry attack, but they keep pressing you. We're going to respond by throwing a javelin. We take aim at one of the closest horsemen, and the missile hits the mark. With a piercing neigh, his mount slumps to the ground, crushing him under its weight. Excellent. At last they recall their attack and ride away. As soon as you reach the plateau, you shake off the weariness and prepare to fight. It looks like Hasdrubal has sent reinforcements to his first line, but they are only partially deployed and clearly not expecting you. You charge the nearest group into the flank. When the other side is at the right distance, we'll throw our javelin. Oh, I clicked the wrong option there. As the other side gets closer, we seal ourselves for the fight. We'll close in. These are Gaelic mercenaries. They have no armor, but we'll go ahead and attack the neck and then the torso for guaranteed kill. Next one up doesn't even have a helmet, so we'll go for the head. Another one with no helmet, we'll go for the head again. Once again, if they're going to not wear helmets, we're going to keep attacking there. Another thing quickly is that different areas will actually do different damage values. I'll toggle these. You see neck does double, head does 1.5, legs do 0.7, arm does 0.6, groin does 1.2. Really neck is the best, but if you can hit the head, it's pretty much just as good, because it's still a 2-hit kill. The neck can 1-hit, as we've seen before. This guy will go for the neck, and then the torso. Once again, no helmet, we're gonna go for the head. Another helmet, we'll go for the neck. And this pattern will kind of continue itself through the rest of the battle. We haven't quite gotten the message that we're nearly done, which means this may be more on the 22, 23 round side of things. Maybe 21, we just got the message. But we will keep killing as many Gaelic mercenaries as possible. This will probably be the last one we face. Yep, and with that, that's done. Eventually, the enemy formation starts breaking apart, and we'll move on. Attacked from all sides, the Carthaginian line is collapsing. Many are taken prisoner, but in the meantime, the bulk of Hasdrubal's force manages to escape. At last, you are ordered to plunder the enemy camp. You set to the task with renewed enthusiasm. But we will just move on. The enemy camp is a bit of a disappointment. It looks like the Carthaginians were able to take most of their valuables with them when they retreated. We're going to split up and search. Actually, we're going to stay with the large group. While searching, your squad bumps into a small group of men and women. There are a dozen or so, some rather young, but they look and sound like Celturbians. Oh god, that's just horrible. Probably slaves captured by the Carthaginians during their recent campaigns. They must have been left behind the enemy when the enemy retreated. You must be careful, for they have even managed to find weapons. The tension rises partially because of the language difficulties, partially because they are afraid of being made prisoners again. Many of them are holding their weapons awkwardly. Should it come to violence, there's only one way this is going to end. We are the highest ranking legionary present, so we're going to try to quiet things down. We have little difficulty keeping our men in check. At last, the slaves lay down their weapons and turned themselves in, virtue increased by 5. There's little more you can accomplish here, and we'll move on. Hasdrubal is heading north, intent on crossing the Pyrenees Mountains with the remnants of his army. The proconsul refused to pursue him, and many of the troops are frustrated with his decision. But you're glad he came to this decision. Following Hasdrubal now, with 2 more armies behind you, could be a prelude to disaster. It would jeopardize all the efforts you've made in the last 2 years. The Carthaginians you captured are sold into slavery, and the revenue is shared among the troops. Scipio orders the Celtiberian prisoners to be released. This will help secure more alliances with the local tribes. Among them, the slaves you rescued in the abandoned camp. Opinion proconsul goes up, which is always nice, and we'll continue on. Skills go up, Silver Armilla for outstanding battle prowess, and we have been promoted to Optio, so another promotion. So back-to-back promotions where we can get him. As an Optio, we are now second in command of our century. In battle, we keep in line the rear of the maniple and will take the Centurion's place at the front when needed. So with that, we can go ahead and complete that battle, but we still have plenty of time in this episode, so we'll go ahead and continue on. And we'll go ahead and do extra patrols. Threat of our life. The troops are in awe of you. Maintaining discipline comes easy. It's good. I think now we can finally do coaching, which improves troop and centurion, but not proconsul. Proconsul opinion is very hard to increase. Really, you can only do it from things in battle. Sometimes you can get camp events when you get high enough rank. I think now we can potentially with a rank of Optio. But for now, we're gonna go and have to forage some more supplies. So we'll head over to the village. Take supplies. I saw the other ones are up to the right. So you can see here that sometimes you can collect a lot of supplies actually just from the woods. Wouldn't recommend this most of the time, but we get ambushed. Another Satrati ambush, iron javelins, protect ourselves. We will close in and immediately go for the neck. Nearly kill him in one hit, but now we'll go for the torso to finish him off, and that is that. Don't want the cap, and the enemy will dissipate back into the trees. And with that, we have enough supplies. And we'll go ahead and head back down to our start point. And that's that. We complete our missions to everyone's satisfaction. Opinions increase, but we don't increase any mental attributes. That's okay. We have another threat of our life. Word is there's a talented weaponsmith near the camp. He makes individualized swords for a reasonable price, so we'll pay him a visit. He isn't hard to find. When you inquire about his prices, he explains that he works only on commission and requires 125 denarii non-negotiable. We're going to ask to see a few samples of his work. The quality of the sword is clearly above average, but there's something wrong. You recognize some distinctive features of Celtiberian swords, yet this man is supposed to be an Iberian smith. You don't think he made this weapon? We're gonna leave. With that, we'll go on extra patrols. And just keep going on it. Up, another threat of your life. It's a dull day at the practice yard when someone proposes to have a small javelin throwing contest, one based on distance. To make things more interesting, a 3 denarius entry fee is set. The one who can throw his javelin the farthest takes the whole prize. There are 10 competitors, all of them young hastati like yourself, will join. You hand over the money and wait patiently until your turn comes. This looks good. Your javelin flies further than everyone else's. In the end, nobody manages to do it better, and you can collect the prize. Excellent. But we'll keep going on patrols. Another group of Satrati with iron javelins. We're going to throw our javelin first. Go ahead and throw our javelin again, nailing him in the arm, and now we'll attack the torso, and that'll be that. These Satrati will continue attacking us, I think, throughout pretty much the entire Spain campaign, if my memory serves me correctly. And that's pretty much just what you deal with them. You throw your javelin, you only have to fight one. When you kill your one guy, that's the end of the encounter, and you move on. And like that, we're ready to move on to the next major battle, and we will do so. When your third spring in this land so far away from home comes, Rome is in control of most of eastern Hispania. Your progress has been admirable, but the war is still far from over. The departure of Hasdrubal Barca and the remnants of his army brought some relief, but the Carthaginians have not been sitting around this time. According to the latest reports from the west, a new general named Hanno is raising an army recruiting Celtiberian volunteers after bringing reinforcements from his homeland of Carthage. Your legion is attached to a 10,000 strong army under the orders of M. Silanus, one of Scipio's legates, and sent west to cope with this new threat. And we'll move forward. Time is of the essence, and your forced march is almost beyond tolerable limits. During this time, you are not only pulling your own weight, but you're also a constant source of encouragement for your companions. With the invaluable help of some of the Celtiberian deserters, you eventually come close to the enemy position. When news of what's ahead of you starts spreading, you learn that there are two enemy camps, one composed of Celtiberian volunteers and the other of Carthaginians. The first one seems to be much less defended and an ideal point of attack, but Solanus wants to play it safe and prepare more scouting teams. We'll volunteer for scouting duty. A Veles named Calvisius and Eorbiles, ooh, that's a tough one, a Celtiberian guide will be your scouting team. Centurion and proconsul opinion increase. Eorbiles knows the ground well and lets you approach the enemy position with minimal risk. When you are in very close, you have to get across a stretch of land with poor cover in order to get a better look. We'll take the risk. Heart pounding, you try to move as quickly and silently as possible, though we have stats for it. You make it safely to their side. You carefully commit to memory every detail you can about the weak links in the defenses of the Celtiberian camp, as well as the best approach path. Judging by the number of the tents and what you see, there are less than 10,000 men here. No more than half are Scutari, heavy infantrymen. And once again, that's more proconsul opinion. When you are satisfied, you signal the others that you can go back. You are about 1 mile from the camps. A gentle breeze is stirring the vegetation all around you. You hear a faint sound of fighting coming from somewhere to the south. Some of the other scouts could be in grave danger. A quick look at the faces of your companions tells you that they've heard nothing. In this one, I found the best thing to do is to tell them to follow you and run in the direction of the sound. There's no time to lose. You sprint towards the sound as fast as you can. Your two companions fail to keep up with you. A little later, you reach the edge of a clearing. Inside, you see 3 men armed with curved swords around the fellow legionary, who is desperately fighting for his life. 3 bodies are on the ground. We'll run immediately to his aid. Without hesitation, you lunge to the fray. 10 virtue. And this, we find ourselves outnumbered 2v3. Our companion is also a little injured. We can actually decide who we want to attack now by clicking this little sword icon on the left. We'll attack the one lowest down and go ahead and throw our javelin. We'll hit him in the arm. He's got no torso armor, so we'll go ahead and attack him in the chest. Both the enemies are not able to hit us or our friends, so we'll attack one in the neck and then attack the last one in the neck. And with 3 sword strikes, we managed to kill all the enemy. You wonder where in Tartarus Calvisius and Eorbiles are. The Legionary is deeply grateful for your timely intervention. You learn that his name is Titus Octavius. He tells you he and his companion had been ambushed on the way back. They were able to kill one of the Satrati, but now he is the only survivor. He promises he will testify about what happened as soon as you get back to the Legion. You fully deserve a civic crown for saving his life, which earns us a lot of opinion. You're about to help them hide the bodies when finally your 2 companions appear. Calvisius is conspicuously limping and leaning against Eorbiles' shoulder. The Veles twists his ankle trying to run after you. You hastily conceal the corpses, doing your best to memorize their location so that they can be buried after you leave the forthcoming battle. Once you've finished, you leave. After a while, you reach the valley where the bulk of the army is hidden and report what you have learned. Everything is ready now. It's time to approach the enemy camp and get prepared for the onslaught. Rewarded 2 cups for voluntarily engaging enemies. Cups are kind of minor rewards. These are enemies we, like I said, go after voluntarily and defeat on our own initiative. We're also awarded a civic crown, which is rewarded for saving the life of a Roman citizen in battle, which is actually a pretty good reward to get. So we'll go ahead and move on. The irregular ground offers plenty of cover as your army approaches the Celtiberian camp. You are not very distant when it finally comes into sight. After a minute, the defenders start pouring out of the camp. You've caught them by surprise. You cross the difficult ground without incident. When you draw near, they try to hinder you by flinging their spears, but your shields form an impenetrable wall. They know they are outnumbered, yet they stand there to meet your advance. When the other side is at the right distance, you prepare to hurl your first javelin, and because we pass an awareness check, we see an enemy officer, and we'll throw our javelin at him. And we strike true, killing him instantaneously on the spot. As the other side gets closer and closer, you steel yourself for the incoming fight. And we have to temporarily take the Centurion's place in the front of the Centurion, or Century I should say. We'll go ahead and throw our javelin at the inexperienced Scutarius, then we'll go for a neck swing. And we'll be attacking a bunch of these inexperienced heavy infantry, who since we've caught off guard, they don't have any armor on. This one actually does. He's got a plate, but we'll go for the neck again, and go for the torso. There's a pretty good chance of you actually missing that plate. So if you have good anti-armor and handiness, there's a good possibility that you just entirely avoid it. If you do hit it though, you're not going to do pretty much any damage. Once again, I do prefer going for the neck though, just to that basically doubling of the damage you do. Once again, gonna go for the neck. And the torso. When you have lower skill, I basically just recommend doing whatever damage you have. Arms are often pretty good. You don't do a lot of damage, but in general, you will actually hit your target even though you don't do a lot. You can go ahead and try to swim through these sinew caps. You can miss them, and they don't have a great armor value to them either. You can also go for the legs, just because they don't wear any leg armor, which means you're going to do full damage, of course, reduced by that leg penalty, so you're going to do 30 or 40%? I think it's 30% less damage. But, again, when you're this high of skill, you just want to go for the neck, and then the torso to finish off. As soon as the situation allows for it, the Centurion takes back his place, and you move to the rear, where you can keep the troop in check. The troop is sliding into disarray, but you manage to keep it in line. Proconsul and Centurion opinion are improved, and we're once again moved to the front. We'll close in. Once again, going for neck and torso attacks against these inexperienced heavy infantry. But hopefully, I think this may be the last round of fighting these guys. We may have a third. Most combats like this are normally between 2 and 3 combat rounds. There are some times where they're just 1. And I don't recall if there are any 4 round combats. But we'll have to find out later. There are also some more interesting kind of combat mechanics when you get into Greece later, but that's skipping a bit of a ways ahead. Right now we want to focus on just keeping alive and keeping our troop intact in Hispania. But for now, we will continue our normal drill of attacking the neck and then the torso to finish off. And with that, there we go. The enemy is routing. What remains of the enemy scatters before your advance, and we move on. Your army occupies the first camp and captures Hanno himself. Meanwhile, the Carthaginians have left the other base, withdrawing to the safety of their cities in the west. It may look like a small victory, but your early intervention prevented a far greater danger from arising. And with that, we'll move on. Our skills increased. We also get another silver armilla for our battle prowess. We would be promoted if there was a position available, but there isn't. You'll have to wait for your chance. Hopefully your popularity won't have changed by then, which is sometimes what you run into. Basically, we can't be promoted to Centurion because our Centurion survived. And with that, that's where we'll go ahead and end episode 2 for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos, leave a comment down below with what you liked. If you disliked the video, hit the dislike button, but leave me a comment down below with what you disliked. I'm always looking to make improvements to these videos. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, and bye bye.